Welcome back to Velshi and Rule. I didn't do it. That's what President Trump said this morning, disputing a key finding in the Mueller report. And just this afternoon, he went after the special counsel again in a speech at the NRA convention.
Every day of my administration, we are taking power out of Washington, D.C., and returning it to the American people where it belongs. And you see it now better than ever, with all of the resignations of bad apples. They're bad apples. They tried for a coup. Didn't work out so well. And I didn't need a gun for that one.
But this morning, FBI director that President Trump chose, Christopher Wray, had this to say about other key findings in the Mueller report.
The use of social media, fake news, propaganda, false personas, etc., to spin us up, pit us against each other, sow divisiveness and discord, undermine Americans' faith in democracy. That is not just an election cycle threat. It's pretty much a 365 days a year threat.
Joining us now, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General at the Department of Justice, Elliot Williams, and NBC News contributor Charlie Savage. Elliot, to you first. Christopher Wray, Dan Coats, Kirstjen Nielsen, take your pick. They have all articulated over and over the threat that Russia is. It's almost one of the first lines in the Mueller report, the Russian interference. Yet the president, while he did say he was totally exonerated, continues to now go after Robert Mueller. And, you know, oh, nothing happened here. And Jared Kushner 2 days ago, it was just a couple of Facebook ads.
There's a lot of willful blindness that we see from the president and the folks around him about the threat that Russia poses, or, you know, foreign actors all over the place. And regardless of whether you agree with what was found in the Mueller report, it's clear that foreign actors attempted to infiltrate our elections. And it's clear that, you know, to some extent they were successful. Like, we can't dispute that. Now, whether no obstruction, no collusion, or what you're going to draw from the findings, that's up to people to decide. But it's clear that that's what they were doing, and the president seems willing to just...
Then wouldn't the president's magic move here to take action against Russia and push everything else aside?
That's the magic move?
Wouldn't that be the best move?
Well, you know, this is hyper-political right now. And so what we're seeing is the Mueller report has come out. It stopped short of accusing Trump of conspiracy. That's with the Russians in 2016. And then it stopped short of making any conclusions on obstruction, even though Mueller left a trail of breadcrumbs to the conclusion that Trump committed the crime of obstruction many times and just can't be accused of that out loud right now because he's the sitting president, and so he can't be indicted and get a trial.
So he can't be accused without, right, he wouldn't get a trial. He wouldn't get a fair way of...
Leaving open the possibility that once he's no longer president, future prosecutors can look at this evidence and decide whether to charge him then. Trump is reducing that to no collusion, no conspiracy, and trying to change the subject back to why did this investigation get started in the first place? This whole thing was a hoax. And there was FISA abuse by the FBI. And I do think we're going to have more information coming out in the coming weeks about the early days of that investigation. We have this Inspector General report coming out. I think any new details there about trying to understand what was happening in 2016 will be used to go on the offensive by Trump and to say this whole thing was just a setup.
But, you know, the more you start using this language of coups and deep states set on undermining the president of the United States, the more you undermine people's very faith in government and in law enforcement.
But he has done that successfully.
He's done this, and this is long before Mueller. This predates the last year or two. The president sort of has built a presidency on attacking institutions and the rule of law. And to some extent, if he keeps up speeches like the NRA thing, he might get himself charged with obstruction of justice.
There's an interesting issue here, one that Charlie's written about a lot. And that is the president sort of wants to diminish everybody's power to the gain of his own. And that has been something presidents have done. And Americans have started to sort of believe it. And so has Congress in many ways. They have abrogated their responsibilities. And now in the last week, there's been this crush of weight on Congress to say this isn't about whether it's politically expedient for you to go through with the process of impeachment. It's actually something you're supposed to look into.
Well, so there's a huge push among liberals to do something about Trump. Now the Democrats have the House of Representatives. And obviously, one possibility would be to bring impeachment hearings with the recognition, though, that Republican senators will never remove him. And so, in the end, it would be a swing at the king and a miss, which might only strengthen his hands, just as the conventional wisdom is that Clinton was strengthened when by Republican overreach in the late 90s. Nancy Pelosi has been trying to channel those energies into vigorous oversight investigations of the executive branch by these 6 House committees. And Trump is now saying, I'm going to stonewall all of those.
And he is.
And he
Yeah,
is.
the subpoenas to nowhere.
Stephen Miller, I mean, got nothing to do with this. And talking about immigration, he won't go.
So it'll be interesting. That's sort of a destabilizing response by Trump, because he's saying, Nancy Pelosi, you can't have your alternative channel to take the pressure off these calls for impeachment. I'm not going to let you investigate me. There's not going to be anyone showing up to answer questions. We can fight it out in court, and you know, the clock will tick away.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.